Ark has released several new creatures over the years, but not every single one of them is 100% original. Take the Bloodstalker for example, clearly based on Spider-Man. I mean, it's more obvious than Trudon's being in Ark 2. Yeah, they're gonna be in it. Just get over it. It's gonna happen. Anyways, the Bloodstalker is clearly Spider-Man, so I will not include the Bloodstalker in my list. Starting with number 1, and in no particular order, is the Cinemacrops. The Cinemacrops is quite obviously based on Falcon. Just look at the way Cinemacrops sits on your shoulder, and then look at Falcon's backpack and how it turns into wings. Still skeptical? Look at how the Cinemacrops flies. Look at how the wings extend, the animations. Look at the animations of the moves. Look at the Cinemacrops scare animation. Look at the similarities between that and when Falcon completely extends his wings outwards. Look at when they free dive down to gain speed. Look at how the Cinemacrops wings, they come in. They don't just stay outwards like you're just gliding down. No, they come inwards to gain the speed, just like Falcon's wings. Now, obviously, the Cinemacrops is not exactly like the Falcon superhero from Marvel, because then he would just be overpowered. However, it's quite obviously based on the Falcon character. Let's look at Tame number 2, and this one's pretty cool. So, have you ever tamed a Ferox before? Have you ever used a Ferox? And no, I'm not talking about when it's on your shoulder, I'm talking about when it's the big bad Ferox, the one that can cause a lot of damage very quickly. Just look at the way Ferox jumps and pounds the ground. The Ferox is quite obviously the Hulk. If you were to color your Ferox all green, you would have a four-armed Hulk. He's literally the Hulk. Ark has a Hulk. I mean, the way the Ferox moves when he is transformed into, let's just call him the Hulk. He's not a large, big, bad creature. He's just the Hulk. You've got Ferox, the small, cute shoulder creature, and you've got Ferox, the Hulk. That's what they are. Just look at their animations, between the similarities in the animation of the Ferox compared to the Hulk. Look at the way he pounds the ground. Just look at how big and buff and strong he is. The similarities, the only difference is the fact that the Ferox has 4 arms and the Hulk only has 2. But I bet the Hulk would love to have 4 arms. Could you imagine a Hulk with 4 arms? Dude, he'd be a little bit overpowered, I think. So yeah, in my mind, the Ferox is clearly the Hulk. Now, the next few Tames are not quite as obvious, but they definitely do make sense once you connect the dots. Before we move on though, if you find yourself enjoying this video at all, please hit that like button. It'll really help me out and it lets YouTube know that it's a good video that is worth sharing. Number 3 on my list is the Noglin. Yes, the Noglin. Now you might be thinking, who is the Noglin inspired by? Who is the Noglin based on? Well, have you seen Guardians of the Galaxy and Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and Avengers Infinity War? Have you watched Mantis and the way she mind controls other people? The way she controls their emotions in order to calm them down or make them aggressive or whatever. Usually she's to calm them down, right? Because then it freezes them. But look at the way Mantis basically mind controls her enemies. Now look at the Noglin. The Noglin literally mind controls other creatures in order to tame them, including enemy players, not even just creatures, enemy players. Now, that isn't quite enough for me to be like, yeah, that's clearly inspired by Mantis, because mind control is a very common thing. As in, mind control is a superpower that's been around for a long time on many different heroes and villains. But that's not the only similarity between Mantis and the Noglin. The design of the Noglin has similarities to the way Mantis looks. Look at the antennas, look at the eyes. You can, if you hold 2 pictures side by side, you can see some similarities there. It's not completely 100% different. Also, just going back to the way the mind control is done, Mantis mind controls by controlling the enemy's or other person's emotions. She either calms them, excites them, makes them aggressive, makes them fall to sleep, those kinds of things. Noglin does a similar thing because when you tame a creature in Ark, you're basically making them your friend. You're calming them down because typically they're animals, right? You calm them down and you tame them. That's what Mantis does, right? Mantis does the same exact thing. That's what Noglin does the same exact thing. Similar approach and style of mind control. So combining that with the similarities in the way that they look as well, you can see that there's definitely some inspiration coming from the Mantis to the Noglin. Would I say the similarities are as close as the Bloodstalker or Spider-Man? No, but there's definitely some inspiration going on there. Number 4 is the Mana Gardener. And now you might be thinking, Mana Grimer can shoot beams of ice from its mouth. It can fly super fast. It can glide. It can do a lot of things that a lot of superheroes can do. And I thought about it for a little while. I was like, who could that be based on? It could kind of be Iron Man, but it's not quite the same in my mind. However, the one MCU superhero the one Marvel superhero that Mana Grimer is actually very, very close to in my mind is Captain Marvel. Obviously, they look nothing alike. However, look at Captain Marvel's two biggest abilities. Number one, she can shoot beams from her fists. Also, Captain Marvel can directly channel the energy of a star to create a super speed flying type of ability where she can literally fly through spaceships because she's flying so fast and with so much power. Now, obviously, the Mana Grimer is not overpowered like Captain Marvel, but if you look at the Mana Grimer's ability to jump and then fly across the sky with that like super speed gliding ability, it's very similar to Captain Marvel's ability to just directly take off and fly super fast and with a lot of force and power. It's a very similar thing. So considering the similarities between them shooting energy, from Captain Marvel's fists and a Mana Grimer's mouth, and being able to just fly across the sky at a super speed, super fast, that's where I see the inspiration. It's not necessarily in the creature, the Mana Grimer himself, but in his abilities. The inspiration seems to come from Captain Marvel or something like that, right? That's where I see those similarities. And really the inspiration. Now, before we get to Tame number 5, and I promise this one is a good one, I want to mention I do have 2 bonus inspirations at the end of this that aren't specifically Tames, but they're different aspects, items, engrams, abilities in Arc that are definitely inspired by Marvel. So make sure you watch all the way to the end so you can see those. And by the way, if you agree or disagree, or you think there's another creature or item in Arc that is inspired by Marvel, leave me a comment down below. Creature number 5 is the Shadowmane. The Shadowmane, I'm sure you can guess it, is quite clearly inspired by Black Panther. Now, you would think the Sabretooth might be a more direct inspiration or similarity to the Black Panther, but no, look at the way the Sabretooth moves, its abilities compared to Black Panther, and then look at the Shadowmane. The Shadowmane looks like a hero version of a large cat or a tiger or a panther or a whatever, a Sabretooth. The point is the Sabretooth is just a large cat. The Shadowmane, that's a hero. That is a Black Panther. Also, look at the way the Shadowmane walks, and then look at the way the Black Panthers in the Black Panther movie walk in that tree. You can see it when they pass away, when the dad passes away in Black Panther, and he dreams, he goes in that dream state and sees all the previous Black Panthers, right? And they're not their regular human selves, they're literally Black Panthers. That's where you can see the clearest visual similarity. Now, in terms of the moveset, the abilities, the Black Panther is just an overpowered, overly strong, and a lot of agility person with his suit that can handle a lot of incoming damage, a lot of force, and can cause a lot of damage too with his nails that are on his hand, right? That's how he attacks. He hits with an open hand, just like a tiger or a cat, large cat, or a panther, right? The Shadowmane is very similar in the fact that its moveset, you attack with its claws, right? He has a lot of force and collects that force, and then can even just like teleport or very quickly jump forward. Now, obviously, the Black Panther can't teleport, but he is very fast, and he's almost sneaky in a way, right? Almost like a ninja moving through the night, just like, which is another Shadowmane ability, is the Shadowmane can become invisible, right? He can become invisible, and you just see the footsteps. That's just like Black Panther sneaking through the night. There are some differences between the Shadowmane and the Black Panther, but the Shadowmane is very clearly inspired by the Black Panther. I mean, they're very similar. It's almost like they had their saber-toothed tiger and they're like, it's kind of boring. People go for the direwolf anyways. We want to create a new large cat-like creature, but let's make him really exciting. Let's add a lot. And somebody probably in the back was like, hey, Black Panther is a really exciting hero in the Marvel movies. And they're probably like, that's a good idea. Let's base some of his moveset and his abilities and just his heroic-like appearance compared to the Sabretooth. Let's base that on the Black Panther. In my mind, the inspiration and similarities between the Shadow Mane and the Black Panther are more than the Noglin and Mantis and the Man of Gardener and Captain Marvel, but maybe not quite as much as, you know, the Cinema Crops and Ferox with Falcon and Hulk, or definitely not as much as the Bloodstalker and Spider-Man. But Shadow Man and Black Panther are pretty, they're pretty similar in my eyes. Now, like I said, I do have two bonus inspirations, similarities between Arc items and Ingrams and different things in Arc compared to Marvel and the MCU and the Avengers. And real quick, last little interruption before we get to that, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and if you are enjoying this content and you'd like to see more content like this. Have you ever used tech or mechs? Have you ever used mechs? I won't spend too much time on this because this feels almost as obvious, if not more obvious, than Bloodstalker and Spider-Man. But using tech gear and using mechs is like, you literally are Iron Man. You're putting on armor to gain abilities like tech, and then the Hulkbuster suit in Iron Man, or some of the larger villain Iron Man suits that they use in the first couple, you know, solo Iron Man films, are just like mechs. Like tech gear and mechs in Arc are literally Iron Man. That's what you are. I think that's all I gotta say about that. The second bonus inspiration, and this one is coming really soon. This is brand new. This is not a previous thing that's been inspired by Marvel. This is something that's brand new, and it's coming with the new map, Fjordur. And I think I might be pronouncing that wrong. I think I might be pronouncing that wrong, and I might very well pronounce it wrong when I tell you what the new sword skin that is coming. Mjolnir is a sword skin for the tech sword, but is literally going to have the look, style, and the electricity of Thor's hammer, of Mjolnir. Now that's more than just inspired by Marvel. That's literally taken from Marvel. In fact, I wonder if they've had to contact Disney for the right to do that. Because they're calling it Mjolnir. That's a really good point. I wonder if Disney's gonna be like, no, you guys gotta pay us, or you can't use that in your game. I wonder if they will change the name of it. Anyways, on with the point of what I'm saying. It's very clearly taken from Marvel, not just inspired by. Which means that when that new map comes out and you're able to make your sword look like Thor's hammer, you will literally become Thor. Especially if you add some like tech suit type stuff, like the Iron Man stuff, right? If you add that on and you can start flying and all that kind of stuff, you'll literally be Thor. You can have a superhero landing. Like, how cool would that be, right? Clearly, that comes from Marvel because it's literally Thor's hammer in the game of Arc. So yeah, Arc has definitely taken inspiration, taken things directly from, and has based some of their creatures and items off of different aspects, heroes, and things within the Marvel universe, the MC universe, and the Avengers, really. If there's any that I missed, please leave me a comment. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Be sure to like and subscribe, and check out this video here if you want to learn 60 Arc tips and tricks in only 10 minutes. You can become a better Arc player in only 10 minutes. Click this video here, check it out, watch it all the way to the end. My name is Dark, and I will see you next time.